How you like me now? And I'm going to throw that out to all the haters out there. Justin, you wouldn't believe it. All these people mad at me saying, "Hey, Pete, you're really high on this Bo Nix guy. You're wrong. He is not the real thing. He's not this. He's not that." Well, Caleb Williams went number one. Jaden Daniels went number two. We got Drake May went number three. We got Michael Penix went number 8. We got J.J. McCarthy goes number 10. This was a monster quarterback draft. Then Bo Nix finally went. And he was in the first round, but he went 12th. He was the last of those quarterbacks to go in the first round. Here's the thing. You look at where he is now, he's got a team that's got a better record than they had all of last year in terms of wins. They're right there, and they are potentially a playoff team, potentially. They're sitting right on the cusp of this whole thing. He's throwing 65% completions. He's got 2,200 yards. He's got 14 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. So I want all the haters out there to understand, why did I think Bo Nix could play in the NFL? Because the kid had the best completion average last year. I know it's college football. I'm very well aware of that. But he actually, as part of his team, he was literally the catalyst that led them. He's doing the same thing in Denver. They figured it out fairly quickly. He was able to follow up a quarterback that they then shot out to Pittsburgh. And everything seems to be going pretty daggone well there. I got to tell you, we've got another group of quarterbacks coming out this year. And the top 3 are Shedeur Sanders. That's Deion's son. You've got Cam Ward, who's doing an unbelievable job, probably goes to the Raiders. And then you've got Jason Milroe from Alabama. The curious part for me is I see all these great quarterbacks, and why are they not great at the next level? The New York Giants just paid a guy, basically call it a couple $100 million, and now they're getting rid of him. They just paid him just a couple of years ago, this big contract, and he's out. But that's the way the NFL is. And I'll tell you, what makes it easier to assess the players who are going to have success is watching them carefully, not looking at the combine, watch them carefully and see what they do in a real game against real competition. And I think it makes it a lot easier. But every year, these GMs try to outsmart each other, and they do all this stuff. It's just crazy, man. Have you been watching college football a lot this year, or NFL, or where do you stand on these things? Because there are some great quarterbacks out there that are coming out this coming year and last year as well. And I'll tell you what, some of them I think are going to be complete flops, Chicago, but I don't know. It's going to be funny to watch. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. What do you think?
Okay, 3 things. First of all, I hate that this Rebels Edge had to remind me of a time where SNL was funny. Because it's really funny during that clip.
You got to go way back. You got to go
Second of all, Bo Nix set the rookie QB record for wins, just wins offensive rookie of the month in October. And I think when you're talking about how they handle themselves, one thing that, whether you look at stats or you just watch the game, he just feels like he's not a typical rookie. He has veteran composure on the field. And that's a really, really tough to teach thing. I think just going back to that discipline, whether you have it in football or whether you have it in trading or what have you, it's obviously huge. And I watch a little bit. I watch every now and again, but I'm not as caught up as you and likely John and everybody else. I'm always just here for the conversation, getting filled in on what I should know.
Yeah, it's fun. I'll tell you what, it's a lot of fun. I know more about it than a lot of people, only because I got a sports show that we do on Sundays, and it's a lot of fun. And we were talking about some of these types of topics just yesterday, and they're phenomenal. I look at Michael Penix. He hasn't really been on the field, but that's a guy who's another one who I think is an outstanding quarterback who kind of slid down a little bit as well. He played at the University of Washington. All right, the shakeup in college sports, college football particularly. So we're sitting there looking at this thing going, all right, we got a 12-team playoff. It's going to be just a bunch of SEC schools. That's all it's going to be. That's what everybody was saying. And, of course, you got to have Alabama in there. You got to have Georgia in there. You got to have Texas in there. Well, whoa. Pump the brakes just a little bit, guys. It is a little bit different than expected. Now, I started off the season saying I don't think a single school is going to be left standing without at least one blemish on their record. Right now, we only got one. It's Oregon. And that could change. You never know. I mean, Ohio State should have and almost did beat them, but they missed it because of the clock, and they didn't use the clock properly at the end of the game. So that was one of their closest calls for sure. And Ohio State's a heck of a football team. But I'll tell you this. I look at this playoff, and what if I told you this? Right now, unless something really strange happens, Alabama's got 3 losses, they're probably out. Ole Miss has 3 losses, probably out. Texas A&M has 3 losses, they're probably out. Colorado, even with Deion Sanders, they now have 3 losses. They play in a conference that people don't have as much respect for, the Big 12. They probably should, but they don't. So with his 3 losses, I'm going to say none of those guys are going to be in the playoff, which is amazing because they were all pretty close except for Colorado. They're guaranteed to be in there. Well, with 3 losses, the idea that they're going to be in there is probably a little bit stretched. Have you been watching this and the craziness this past weekend, especially all these games that really turned? And it's just amazing because there's a whole new, and I think this is good. It's because of the portal, might have a little something to do with NIL, but more about the portal and the movement that we are seeing for players. I'll tell you what, there are teams out there that will be playing in this playoff that nobody thought would be probably back in September. What do you think?
Yeah, you're talking about games that turn. One that didn't even have time to turn. Bama and Oklahoma, unranked, 24-3, nasty. If I'm getting knocked out and it's 24-3, I don't even want to finish. Just get me to the next season. Let's just see what happens. This is embarrassing.
They got the Iron Bowl, man. They got to play Auburn this week, so they still got the one more game. My Golden Gophers have Wisconsin. They unfortunately had a loss. I was at the game. We lost by a point to Penn State, who's really, really a pretty good football team. We were right there. They outplayed us at the very end. They had a fake punt that gave them the opportunity to run the clock out. And otherwise, we had a shot at winning. We lost, I think, 26-25. It was a really great game, but college football has finally gotten a lot more parity, and that's a good thing. I always think that's a good thing. Right now, Big Ten has 4. You got Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana. The SEC has 3, Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee. ACC's got 2, Independent, Notre Dame. They lost to Northern Illinois at the beginning of the season. It looked like they were going to be cooked. They were going to go down the drain. But they're there, and they look great. They've gotten better and better. And how about this Mountain West? You get a team like Boise State. You got this running back who might be the best running back I've seen since Barry Sanders, and this guy is special. I think it would be a lot of fun for Boise State to be in there. It looks like they will be, but you just never know. You never know because it's not always in their hands, but that should be pretty fun.